All right. Okay, Sanford. Listen, it's great to
Yeah,
see you again after so many years, and
yeah.
very well.
I still remember that we both in Beijing
That's right. That at that time,
over 10 years ago.
that was over 10 years ago. That's whenever I was president, and
Yeah.
you were chair of the FEB branch as well. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, I explained this. This is the second podcast in our series of Greg Goes Global, and obviously
Uh-huh.
me, and in collaboration we do it with distinctive people. So we obviously think you're a distinctive person,
Yeah.
and great to be collaborating with you. And maybe just could I begin with to talk a bit about yourself and your work, and how did you
Mm.
get involved in housing, and what made you stay there?
Okay. Yeah, Patty. Yeah. Actually, I joined this profession mainly in the management and leasing profession over 35 years already.
Wow.
Because I started my career in 1986.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the past few decades, I have been in different companies or organizations, like the developer companies or the independent management companies. And now I'm in Hong Kong Housing Society, an NGO with social housing.
Yeah.
So in the past few decades, my role as a manager, a professional manager, in different aspects. So I once have been in the developer's role. Sometimes I'm the agent, and now I'm the landlord and also the manager.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. But part of my career in the past, especially from the 1994 to 2000 or 2001, is interesting for me because I have been engaging in the mainland China's property management business. Because
Yeah.
in that period, my company has the China section. You know that in that time, the China's property market is booming in that period because the open policy and there's a lot of investor getting in. So my role is to develop the management business for my company and also to carry out those pre-completion consultancy to those major or so-called mega project along the coastal cities and some of the major inner cities. So it's very interesting and very impressive to me because I have the opportunity to get in the mainland to do my role and also to see a lot of things at that moment. So it's a very interesting for me. But I come back to the Hong Kong market uh, in after 2001, and from 2008, I joined my company now, the Hong Kong Housing Society. And this company or this organization is quite interesting. It is an NGO in Hong Kong, non-profit making,
Yeah.
but it is a pioneer of social housing in Hong Kong because the first social housing or the first public rental estates in Hong Kong was developed by Hong Kong Housing Society in 1954. So
Yeah.
much earlier than the Hong Kong government to carry out to do the social housing.
Was
So
that
it's
before the fire? Was that before the fire or after the fire?
yeah, actually, um, our first rental estate was completed in 1954. And you mentioned about the major fire
Yeah.
called the public housing in for the Hong Kong government. Also happened that year, the Christmas
Okay.
Christmas Eve. So actually, Hong Kong Housing Society is um, doing the social housing business a few years earlier than that moment.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, it is my uh, career background.
thank you very much for that. Very, very interesting career background. Moving towards the importance of professionalism, and
Mm.
I know you've had very senior roles in the Chartered Institute of Housing Asia Pacific branch. Could you tell us a little bit about the work that it does? to ensure professionalism in Hong Kong?
Yeah, before that, maybe I can spend a few more minutes to talk about what's happening in housing society, because it's interesting.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
and also affect my current business, and also the professionalism, and also the work in Chartered Institute of Housing, actually. So you want to know why I stay in the profession, and also what's important for the property industry in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is quite interesting, open economy, and property market, and as well as the management and leasing market in Hong Kong. Actually, it is one of the major pillars of the Hong Kong economy. Besides the financial market, the property market is very important to Hong Kong, and that's why 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when I graduated and then go into the market, I chose the property market. Actually, at that moment, I'm not so clear about management, property, and what's the differentiation. I just want to get into one of the major pillar of the economy, the property market. So, but after that, I find it very interesting, and especially the property market creates a lot of employment or the job opportunity for the Hong Kong working population. In Hong Kong is about 3.5 million working population, but for the property market and also the management market together, it accounts for nearly 10% of the total working workforce in Hong Kong. Yeah, so you can imagine the importance and the productivity, the output of this sector. Yeah, so it is one of the reasons why I want to stay in this sector, because a lot of opportunities, and I can earn my living.
Brilliant, and you look very happy as well.
yeah. So and also in when I joined Housing Society, it is the pioneer of social housing, as I said, and we are the only one other than the Hong Kong government to provide the social housing. It's interesting. It's a historical development.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong Housing Society is now providing about 33,000 rental units for the Hong Kong population. But for the Hong Kong government, it is about 800,000 units. So we only account for the total stock of less than 5%. Yeah, but a lot of related policies and also all the arrangement, we have to follow the general practice.
Yeah.
So for Hong Kong Housing Society is very interesting, and especially because of we are small. Small is beauty, so that we can develop additional service for those rental units tenants. Like I don't know whether you heard about the aging in place services. That means we do not want our elderly to get into the institutional home, the aged homes, so early. So we want to facilitate them to live in the community with their friends, with their network, and also within the community, instead of so early to get into the homes, the aged. So it's the aging in place. Another services we can provide to our tenant is the intergenerational living. That means we encourage the elderly, the general age, and also the youngsters to live together, facilitate their living, so that the people can live together happily, instead of going, the elderly go to their homes, the youngster live with their parents. So it's so isolated. So we can have the opportunity to provide these services to them. So I am so quite interested to these kind of services. That's why I stay in the society for over 14 years till now.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic.